Hello there and welcome. I am your host, and today I would like to be ranking the presidents. This is something I think very dear to my heart, and let's just hop right into it. So, be going from Washington to Biden and take these really from Reagan to Biden. Don't take them as seriously. They are very subject to change. We haven't seen the full effects of their presidencies yet. So, anything could happen. There could be a document making George H.W. Bush the best out of any of them, which could very well be the truth. We don't know. But Washington to Carter it could change in the future, but I just think generally they're really around where they are. So Washington, he is just an easy yes. Yes, he did own slaves, but he did also squash a rebellion, and I could actually go to, I can't spell today. I can actually go to his Wikipedia page, and you can see everything he did. He established a national bank, which in my opinion is necessary. You need something to let money go easier through the federal government. And then he did fire Thomas Jefferson, who probably was more on the right. People should have I haven't put much thought to this, in full honesty, but he did squash the Whiskey Rebellion, and he set the two-term precedent. We could have had a king, but we didn't, thanks to this man. We could have had a tyrannical leader, and no matter which side you're on, Democrat, Libertarian, Republican, everybody can say, we do not want anybody who's currently in politics today to be the absolute ruler of the country. I think we can all agree on that. And thanks to him, we did that. He not only led the army to win, he also helped establish the Constitution, and he made it so we didn't have any absolute ruler. He is the almost one of the greatest presidents in American history. And then you have his vice president. He didn't get to really choose his vice president back then. So you have John Adams. I'm going to put him at a C tier. I would be inclined to put him at a D tier, even though he was a founding father. This right here. He failed peace, yeah. He did squash Friars Rebellion, yeah. He was against slavery, and that is amazing. But this one thing right here, through this you're going to notice a common theme. I do not like presidents that violate the First Amendment, and this was a clear First Amendment violation by a sitting U.S. president, not even a decade after the Constitution was ratified. Well, at least went into effect. John Adams, this is just a terrible thing right here. You can't do that. You just can't do that. John Adams, C.T. He was still a founding father, which is why he's not a D or F, but he's still alien sedition. I mean, I'd consider B, but no, C is just where he is. Thomas Jefferson. Oh, this man. I love this man very much. He not only wrote the Declaration of Independence, he also expanded the U.S.'s territory. He cut the U.S. government spending and debt by a third. He established the Navy, I'm pretty sure. First Barbary War, Lewis and Clark. And then he was also involved in this General Wilkinson conduct, which I think would be cool. You should probably check out. General Wilkinson was demoted, which was good, I guess. And he tried to annex Florida. I don't know why anybody would want to annex that, but he's a founding father, and I like him. James Madison, You may say anything you want about the War of 1812, anything. The only thing I care about, also he did fire General Wilkinson because it was kind of a two-presidency problem. But this man, right here, this thing right there, he not only did the Bill of Rights, he literally wrote the Constitution. He had help, but he was the main driving force behind the Constitution. Probably the most dear legal document to my heart. He wrote that, and he did the Bill of Rights. In my opinion, a lot of the laws that are going on today are illegal because they violate the Constitution. That's James Madison was the person that wrote the Constitution. A tier, easy. I care about the Constitution very much. You may not, but I do. James Monroe. First, he had the Missouri Compromise. He was keeping the country intact. He knew that slavery was still strong in the South and that Northerners did not like slavery. He resided over the, era of good feelings. He's literally known for that. He has the Monroe Doctrine, probably the single best piece of American foreign policy in history. He got Florida. He made a treaty with Britain and Russia, apparently. I didn't see this. Regulated naval arguments on the Great Lakes and Lake Champlain. Demilitarized the border between U.S. Demilitarized. I guess you can't really. And fixed president Minnesota Rocky Mountains. From Minnesota to the Rocky Mountains at the 49th parallel. Wow. That's man. And yes, there is a few other things. He definitely had slavery, yes. And there was a Panic of 1819, but you have to literally see his administration was the one where one party just took over the entire country. And don't say, well, it was a different time back then. Yeah, it was a different time because it was literally 1819. But also, you have to realize in the election of 1800, it was a very nasty election. 1800, just 12 years after the Constitution was written by James Madison. 1800, you see nasty, negative campaigns, and it was just terrible. Sure you could go here. It was very similar to a modern election, meaning that if this was similar to a modern election, then you could have a party. You could still have a party that is really good dominate all of America still. If you have this nasty of an election back then, like the elections we have now. James Monroe, A. And these are a bit mixed up. Where is everybody? Okay. He goes there. He goes there. He goes there. He goes there. Okay. John Quincy Adams. Now, he had very good intentions. Okay? I would put him at A tier if he was able to get them passed. He had very good intentions. He was against slavery. He knew that a civil war was coming. How many years? Like 30 years before it even concluded. And then you have, yes, you have you have the corrupt bargain in Congress in 1824, but what I say to that is how politics should be. You have two candidates that believe in the same thing, trying to get the same thing done, putting aside presidential ambition. Henry Clay literally put aside presidential ambitions of his own. And yeah, he did trade for Secretary of State, but he literally put aside presidential ambitions of his own just so Adams would win. Thank God Jackson didn't win in 1824. It would have been a lot worse. And Adams, he was ineffective in Congress, which means he didn't get to do a lot of the stuff he could. But he also did a lot of internal improvements. He tried to get an an observatory. He tried to fix roads because it was terrible. Because it was just a new nation, just why not smack off the bat, and then you don't got any infrastructure. And he was the president that did that, John Quincy Adams. He lost re-election, sadly, but it was kind of ineffective in Congress. Which means I just got to give him B. He's a very good president. And if there's going to be one of the presidents that has the highest character, he would be up there. Now, Andrew Jackson. I think you already know where I'm going to put him. Well, at least what I think of him. D tier. Definitely not F. Like, he'd be a D plus, C minus type. Because he was still a hero of America. But I'm going to show you this little thing right here. This little thing right here is terrible. It was a part of just Trail of Tears. You can't remove Indians from their place just because you think America's better. He also introduced a spoils system, which thankfully Chester Arthur in the late 1800s got rid of. But he did that. He did the Indian Removal Act. He did the spoils system. And he destroyed banks of the United States. He was just a bad president. And he killed Indians extensively. Literally, you can see, I think it was something, oh, I forgot his name. It was a congressman. Where is it? The Battle of New Orleans. He and where is it? Okay, well, there's one congressman that was against, well, who wasn't a congressman at the time. He was against the, like, such harshness that Jackson was displaying towards the Indians. And then Jackson kept doing it anyways, even while he was president. He was just a bad president. He was mean to Indians. That's just not good. And Martin Van Buren, you see a continuation of basically Jackson's entire government. You literally see in here somewhere, it was just a continuation. Literally, Martin Van Buren was selected to just continue Jackson's government. And the only good thing I can say about Martin Van Buren aside, well, no, I should re-say what I said. One of the good things about Martin Van Buren that he had on up to Jackson is he was against slavery, which was good. That was very good. Jackson was a proponent of more slavery around the South, which, I mean, at least Monroe knew that they needed to be a compromise. And then you have William Henry Harrison. Also, I don't know. It's just got some bad presidents. Then you have William Henry Harrison. The same thing. He was a war hero that was a war criminal at the same time for killing just the amount of bad stuff he did to Indians. And this was before his presidency, yeah. But he was just a bad president. 30 days, he didn't get anything done. D tier. Well, he didn't get anything done because he only had 30 days, I'll agree with that. But does kind of hurt him. He wasn't around very long, so you don't know what he could have done. Which kind of hurts him. I don't know. Somehow. But William Henry Harrison, he's bad. He would have been a bad president. They would have just seen another Jackson. And then you have his vice president, John Tyler, who nobody liked him. Nobody liked him. His party didn't like him. The Democrats didn't like him, except James Polk, which kind of, but just a bit. But Tyler, yeah, he did go his own way. He was kind of a maverick in that sense. I guess that does give him a few points. But then you get, oh, where is it? Yeah. When the American Civil War began in 1861, Tyler literally sided with the Confederacy and won election to the Confederate House of Representatives shortly before his death. He literally was a traitor This man is a traitor. He's the first F tier I'm going to give because he was a little traitor. My God. Then you got James K. Polk. A lot of people say a lot of good things about James K. Polk. I think there are a few good things. Also, you're not going to see me talking about tariffs much because I see both positives and negatives to tariffs. I'm not going to criticize the president for putting tariffs on unless they deliberately hurt people. I haven't done that much research for the tariffs of presidencies because I don't think it's very apparent like who was hurting from the Walker tariffs or whatever the heck. I just know about like certain tariffs, the bad things, but you're not going to see me criticizing tariffs much or saying he had tariffs good. You're not going to be seeing me supporting or opposing tariffs at all. I've just been seeing that in some of these articles. So James K. Polk, he's a one-term president. A lot of people like him. Small people like him, or small people dislike him. He served only one term, said he was only going to serve one term. But he said he was only going to serve one term, and he did only serve one term. And he did everything he said he was going to do. That's why he's famous. So I think he did kind of side a bit with Tyler a bit. And he was more of a Jacksonian than really anything. If he has anything on Indians over here, annexation of Texas, the country. Okay, I'm gonna give him a good B tier. I have given him C tiers in the past for Jacksonianism, but I think that's just prejudiced stuff. Me just like Jackson's bad. Polk was also Jacksonian. He's bad. On to Zachary Taylor. He led the stage for a compromise of 1850, which also was a good compromise, I guess. It was trying to avoid war, lead the two countries, well, not two countries, but two sides of America to be more nice to one another. Like, we have our differences, we can respect that, at each other, something, I don't know. But he also tried to avoid this issue of slavery here to settlers in New Mexico and California to bypass the territorial state and draft constitution for statehood and the states were compromised in 1850. So that means that he was trying to get people out there to actually like vote for the good side. Okay, and he was a war hero. Old, rough, and ready. He was a war hero. I don't got much stuff to say about him, if you can tell, but there literally isn't much here. He's just some personal details, military service. He was president, that's about it. He died about a year into his term. I'll give him a good C. He only owned one slave, which, that's it. That's a lot less than other guys. I could give him a B, but I think that'd be too deserved. Millard Fillmore. He opened up trade with Japan, kind of forced them to, but like I said, it was good. We got cherry trees in Washington, D.C. now. But he also did the Fugitive Slave Act, which is just terrible. I mean, he just, yeah. D tier. I don't think he was the worst, which means I don't think he was F, but D tier. Franklin Pierce, just F. You may say, oh, his child and his wife died or something or another. What happened? Spouse, Jane Appleton died 1863. But one of his kids died right before he became president, which was bad. Yeah, I could see how that could affect some decision making. He was still the president of the United States. It was still his responsibility. He still had 4 years. Also, when was this Kansas-Nebraska Act passed? 1854. Wow. Okay, he would have had enough time by then. Just F. This Kansas-Nebraska Act, I'm not even going to get into Kansas-Nebraska. It's just, no. I'm not even going to go over James Buchanan. No, I will. I mean, yeah, he was the first homosexual. He was the first gay president. That's, I guess, something. There you go. But also, he let the election happen. He just let it happen. He's just terrible. Bleeding Kansas. Panic of 1857, my God. And Utah War. Well, yeah. Utah War. It was people trying to make their own territory is stupid. Abraham Lincoln, S tier. I'm not saying he's the best. Well, what I will say, he might actually be the best. And I know there are some, like Native American stuff he did. He wasn't actually, like, all caring about all religion or all races. He was actually more for, I think, I say somewhere, he was more for sending blacks back to Africa. But he was definitely against slavery of all kinds, except in prison. Looking at you, Link. But, he lost everything he had then. He lost every single election he was in. Until 1860. When he ran, he won. And he won real well. He won re-election, 55%. An entire electorate. My God. That's unheard of today. But he also instituted Reconstruction. He didn't say, you deserve to be punished. Because you see in Europe, all of these rulers saying, you're going to be punished for invading my country. No, he didn't say that. He literally created the National Union Party. Actually, I have proof for that. Where is it? Oh, it's somewhere. It should be here. It's not. Oh, there it is. Stupid. But his party, he was National Union from 1864 to 1865 when he died. He was National Union because he wanted to bring everybody together. He literally had a Democratic vice president. Just put him there. Just terrible. And so Lincoln, he saved this country. He didn't say, hey, you suck, I'm going to punish you. He said, hey, I'm going to bring Reconstruction to America. And he did that. He did that. He saved this country. And he didn't exactly have a religion, which I'm just going to put a bit higher up because he didn't do stuff out of the name of God. He did stuff out of the name of himself. And then he got Grant. I'm probably shouldn't skip Andrew Johnson. He just sucked. He literally said, "Hey, can you not have the what's it called? Hey, can you not have the Emancipation Proclamation? Oh, I forgot to say that Emancipation Proclamation. Hey, can you not have the Emancipation Proclamation apply in Tennessee, my home state? Just for me, you know." Also, Homestead Bill. He sought passage of it. That's his fault. That's his fault, man. That's his fault. It's this guy's fault. Homestead Act. He may even say, oh, this Lincoln's fault. No, it's this guy's fault. It's Andrew Johnson's fault. He just is a terrible president. I forgot what I was saying before. And he was literally impeached. He lost impeachment. He won impeachment just by one vote. By one vote, he could have been removed from office. I wish he was, but he wasn't, sadly. Because he just sucked. He literally just sucked. Congress knew it, too. And then, Grant, war hero, helped us win in the Civil War. We actually literally could have lost the war. And then you get Ulysses S. Grant come in and say, "Hey, I'm Ulysses S. Grant," and then he kicks the enemy's butt and tells him, "Hey, this is America." And he slams his fist on the table, and he wins the gosh darn Civil War. You may say, "Oh, corruption." Also, he crushed the Ku Klux Klan, passed the 15th Amendment, which thankfully gave the right to vote to everybody. Crushed the KKK, which is just a stupid organization. The first Civil Service Commission, liberal, Republican, Democrats united behind Grant's opponent. Grant's Native American policy was to assimilate Indians into white culture. That's why you're not A. B tier. Good B tier. Yeah. I think people you actually see here, I'm just looking right here, so I was doing 38th in 1994, 1996, but 21st in 2018, because we're seeing more good he did. That through his career, we're starting to see that. And then you have Rutherford Hayes, which he's Rutherford Hayes. I do like that he did save Bolivia. He did save Bolivia, and that's why literally there's the capital city or city in Bolivia. The cities in Bolivia. That's how I spell Bolivia. Where is it? Hayes. There's a place called Hayes or something. Maybe in Paraguay. Paraguay, Hayes. Yep. Right there. Presidente Hayes. There you go. You literally got they literally have an entire territory in Paraguay, or little like state province. That's what departments are there. Called Hayes because of this man. He saved the country when it was fighting all odds. But he also was kind of the reason why. He was also kind of the reason why Reconstruction ended, because he just won very narrowly. But then, he is a lawyer, staunch abolitionist. He defended refugee slaves in court proceedings during antebellum. He was good. He was a mediocre president, I'll say that. And then you got my main man, James A. Garfield. Nobody knows who he is. He was one of the best ones. One of the better ones, at least. I'd even say he's A tier. Because he defied Roscoe Conkling, which this guy just sucked if you know him. He defied Roscoe Conkling. He purged corruption from the post office. He defeated this other anti-Reconstruction Democrat. And he initially agreed with radical Republican views on Reconstruction, but later favored a more moderate approach to civil rights and for freedmen. I would support all of this. I'm fine. I love the radical Republicans very much. And then a moderate approach. I love moderate approaches too, because you got to think about everybody. And he literally was actually doing the Monroe Doctrine. He was following the amazing doctrine that Monroe set out. And he was actually not on his way, but he was actually going to follow through with a, what's it called? Oh, he's going to meet with a whole bunch of, North and South American countries, but then he was shot before he could get there. So, he was literally just, I would even say A tier. I gotta give him A tier. He is just one of the best presidents probably of all time. And, Republicans at this time are civil rights and education right there. The key to improving the state of... Also, he was ambidextrous. Did I even say that? He was super smart. Key to improving the state of African American civil rights will be found in education aided by the federal government. He literally is supported A tier. I could even give him S tier. No, he died too early, which is why Blocks is S tier. I think if he would have been around longer, he might have went into B tier. He might have done some bad stuff, but he wasn't around, so A minus. I'll give him A minus. Chester Arthur. Also, right here, advocated for civil service reform, and by 1881, Civil Service Reform Association organized and with renewed energy across the nation. Garfield sympathized with them, believing the spoil system damaged the presidency and distracted from more important concerns. Some reformers, believing the spoil system damaged the presidency. Right there. I mean, this man, he was A tier. I gotta give him A tier. I love that man very much. Chester Arthur. He's a good guy. I mean, for a long while, like, if you say something bad about Chester Arthur, nothing comes to my mind. Like, instantly. He literally also defied Roscoe Conkling. He literally changed his view. He was originally one of the more spoiled system vice presidents because Conkling wanted to make sure that his power was still in the White House, so he could put Chester Arthur as vice president, who was the collector of the Port of New York, who was, well, one of the most spoiled system offices. I'm trying to say something, and I know what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying it bad. But he tried to do that, and then he defied him. He changed his views, and then he put forth a super, like an actually strong spoil system, anti-spoil system thing. It would be hard indeed to better President Arthur's administration. Mark Twain, my main man, Mark Twain wrote that. I gotta give him B. He wasn't like he was pretty like not memorable. B. I gotta give him a B. I mean, we also had a surplus. Civil rights right here, and yeah, Grover Cleveland B. It was just he didn't work well with Congress because they wanted some stupid stuff, but he was like the Teddy Roosevelt of the late 1800s. If Teddy Roosevelt wasn't around, because Teddy Roosevelt was, but he couldn't work well with Congress, and he didn't run for a third term, which I thought was stupid. Like, why wouldn't you? If you go to 1896 Democratic Convention, you don't see Grover Cleveland's name anywhere because none of these are Grover Cleveland. I just think he probably should have ran. I'm not saying that's the main reason why he's B. I'm just saying, come on, man. Also, he's part of the gold standard, which I think was good. You gotta make sure that currency is backed up. High inflation is just not good. And he also imposed imperialism, which is pretty good. I'd even say he's B or A. I mean, no, he didn't work well with Congress. His first term, 1893, it still happened under his administration, even though Benjamin Harrison. The Panic of 1893 still happened under his term, even though Benjamin Harrison was around. But yeah, Grover Cleveland. He also only multiple term or non-consecutive term president. He supported classical liberalism, even to a point where it's whoa. But he also fought monopolies. He was just a good guy. Pretty sure he was also married in my house, I think. Benjamin Harrison. Some people might not like my choice of Ben Harrison, but he supported civil rights. He did kind of lose that the whatever you call it. He did support civil service reform. He did that. But he also did kind of spend that surplus we had over the 1880s, which kind of led to 1890. Panic of 1893 couldn't really be afforded. So then you got people like whatever his name is, J.P. Morgan bailing out the federal government. literally Cleveland's enemy doing that. So it's, yeah. William McKinley. Imperialism, imperialism, imperialism. That's just this guy's main name. He did support civil rights, which is why he's not F. But he just, I don't like imperialism because also war with Spain was just a farce. It was all stupid. But William McKinley. Imperialism kind of led to where we are in America today. I don't like that. I think every country should be free, and William McKinley did not support that. Next president. Teddy Roosevelt. My man. Square deal. He ended the Russo-Japanese War, which was amazing. He's not S tier because he did use a bit of executive power. He did make sure that our food is all clean. It's not poisonous. He did actually have a better idea at winning World War I. He thought we should have gotten it way earlier. And he supported a whole bunch of progressive values even when he was president. He supported a bunch of conservationism stuff, but it wasn't S tier because it did a lot of executive orders. He probably should have worked a bit better with Congress. Well, at least used their power more, because Republicans were just, wow, powerful back then. And this man, Teddy Roosevelt. He was a bit iffy on blacks, but yeah. That's about it. William Howard Taft. Conservationism. He had a bit different view on that, but that's alright with me. Well, okay, I'm not thinking right now, I'm sorry. I gotta just take a minute to just think. Taft, in 1912, he was more of the conservative candidate in that election. You had both Democrat Woodrow Wilson and progressive Teddy Roosevelt. He was more of the conservative candidate that election. Wilson was in the middle. He busted more monopolies than Roosevelt, which is good, I guess. He did kind of clash with Roosevelt, but Taft, he didn't try to run for real. He didn't try to stop Roosevelt from winning a third term. In 1912, personally, he tried to do it just because William Taft just wanted more power. These two were very good buds, and I remember watching something. Taft, in 1919 at Roosevelt's funeral, Taft was just crying at Roosevelt's grave, which Taft, he was a good president. This guy is terrible. He watched a super racist movie in the White House. He was very racist. The Federal Reserve, which put down a permanent national bank, but it was kind of a stupid way of doing that. He did modern income tax. He did whatever it's called. What's it called? The Sedition Act of the late 1910s, and he just was terrible. But I do not put him at F because he supported women's rights. He literally got the women voting amendment passed, which is good. Warren Harding, F. He just actually is F. He just was bad. It's terrible. A bunch of corruption. He never did anything. He just partied all the time. He did release Eugene Debs, but that's about it. He's just terrible. He did nothing. He always Congress sent something to him. He'd just sign it, so there wasn't really a check and balance right there. He's just a terrible president. It's terrible. And he died. I guess it's something, I don't know. But Calvin Coolidge, gotta give it to the man. His policies did kind of lead to the Great Depression, but He also was a good small government conservative. And no, if you say that his policies didn't, I will tell you, what year did Calvin Coolidge end his term? 1929. And what year did the Depression start? The Great Depression? The reason it's called Great Depression? 1929. It's his fault. It just is. It is Calvin's. It is his fault. He was just a bad president. No, he wasn't a bad president. He was a very good small government conservative. He had his convictions. He was a good man, good character. And his response to Boston police strike is good. Because Boston police strike, if you read about it, they're just being stupid. He did a good job with it. And then you got Herbert Hoover. Just bad. And I did say 1929, 1929. Yeah, it was actually half a year between when Coolidge left and when the Depression started, which meant it's kind of also Hoover's fault too. Well, they didn't do a good job because I had 4 years to end it. He didn't do it, and none of it worked except making a deal with FDR, who was a pretty good president. Roosevelt was kind of the reason why we had this giant establishment, but we did get through the Great Depression, and he put up a whole bunch of programs which helped a lot of families even today. And thanks to this guy. And he won World War II. He punched some Nazis in their face, he set up bombs for Japan. And his best friend, while he was president, was Henry A. Wallace, who was Secretary of Agriculture, and then he was vice president, and then kicked off the ticket in 1944. Henry A. Wallace was just the best president of all time. You can't get better than him. Here, Truman, bomb Japan, yeah, but it's for a good reason. Now, Japan has one of the biggest GDPs in all of the world. They have strong, competent government, actually competent government, because they're just good. Thanks to this man right here. The economy is doing bad in late 1940s, but he somehow beat the odds, and then the economy did great under his second term. Good job, Truman. He's a pretty good president, I'll say. And he did the Fair Deal, which was pretty good. Eisenhower, he's one of the guys I go between S and A. I gotta give A, because he helped win World War II in Europe, but he also, and he established NASA, which led to the space race. Thankfully, we won that. He also approved the Bay of Pigs invasion, which was left to John F. Kennedy to carry out. So, thanks, Eisenhower. And he also did the Eisenhower Doctrine, which, well, if you know anything about Iran in the 1950s, you know that CIA was doing some crap stuff to prevent him from being S. And he was kind of the reason why we went into Vietnam, which was just one of the worst wars in American history. And he didn't do anything about the Hungarian Revolution. But he's still Eisenhower. He still carried out a whole bunch of New Deal programs, thankfully. And he warned of the military-industrial complex, which, good job. We had a whole bunch of economy. If you think of the 1950s, you just think of a family with a good life. That anything wrong happens, to the world, they can easily just get out. And Civil Rights Act in 1957, you have Little Rock, Arkansas, and that stuff. And that's why he's A. That's why he's not going to B. John F. Kennedy, S tier. Just easy S. Easy S. He wanted balance on his ticket, so he was either going to get somebody from Missouri or somebody from Texas, Lyndon Johnson or Stuart Symington, and he got one of them. He wanted Stuart Symington, and that's what's thought, but yeah. And then he pushed for Civil Rights Act while he was president. He supported the the busing movement down in the South. What? No, not busing. What's it called? 1962. People took buses, or civil rights protesters took buses down in the South. So he had to kind of help them. And he did, thankfully. He was a good president. And he was very staunch anti-communist, like very staunch. He kind of put anti-communism above civil rights a bit. Well, yeah, everybody has their flaws, but this man, and he was a World War II veteran. He's the only president to actually receive Purple Heart. He was elected House of Representatives. He knew what he was doing. He defeated Richard Nixon. His humor, charm, and youth, he was just a very good president. You may say Bay of Pigs, so that kind of was Eisenhower's fault, as I said earlier. So, A tier. And he didn't even send American troops in. He literally did the right thing, and if you want to start a revolution in Cuba, you don't let us invade them. You let them rise up themselves, which was what he did. He let Cubans start a revolution in their own country because they didn't like the communists. And then, yeah, we're heightening of the Vietnam War. I think if Kennedy wasn't killed, he would have taken us out. Maybe like in the late 1960s, I mean, he would have taken us out. But, yeah. Then, LBJ. I thought he was a good president, kind of bad guy. I don't know. He was a bit of a creep. He lost Vietnam. Well, actually, whatever decision he took, Vietnam was going to be the wrong one. People were going to hate him if he lost the Vietnam War. People were going to hate him, and people did hate him if we what's it called? Kept going in the Vietnam War. Pulled out was the first thing I was trying to say. So he kind of lied in 1964. He said he was the anti-war candidate, but yeah. The kind of reason why I got all this counterculture stuff, because nobody really liked him, because he was doing a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, I liked LBJ, but just because you like someone doesn't mean you need to rank him high. He still had a strong economy, at least in mid to early 1960s. He did a war on poverty, thankfully. He did a Great Society. He did a whole bunch of programs, but unfortunately, he had to take some funding away from him. And he expanded NASA. He put out a top priority right there. And we won the space race. We won it because thanks to this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. I'm gonna put him at a D tier. He cheated. That's just true. And he said we were gonna pull out of the Vietnam War. We didn't do it until literally the month after he was re-elected. So we didn't start pulling out till then. And he kind of still did some stuff in Cambodia. And then he resigned, the only president to do so, which just... And his administration was full of corruption. His vice president tried to evade taxes, so he resigned. Nixon didn't until 1974, when... Also, he did get on better terms with China, thankfully. And it was just all good. He presided over Apollo 11, War on Cancer, I don't even know that. He did the EPA, thankfully. He did the anti-ballistic missile treaty, which was good. He visited China. He was okay. I'll give him C. Should I? But then he oil crisis, his policies led to recession in 1970s, D tier. Then you got Ford, easy B. Easy B. Just easy. Ford, great guy, I love him. Yeah, he was a bit of a doofus talking. He was a football player in college. They're not really the smartest talking. But I know this guy he's one of those like strong guys. He's one of the like most character intelligent people I know. That's Ford. That's Ford for you. He didn't do anything in Watergate scandal, and he restored integrity to the Oval Office. He pardoned Nixon, which was the better choice. He just, yeah, he just was a good president, but he was a bit of a doofus. I guess I gotta give him C. I don't want to. C, like strong C plus. I'd give him that. Jimmy Carter, B tier. He's a good president. Very good. Did the right thing by avoiding war and not negotiating with terrorists. Uh, Still alive today, still kicking. He's a very nice man, best character out of any president, probably. And he was just oh, Jimmy Carter. Just reading some stuff here. All this. He did face challenge. He just, I don't know. I think I got it. Jimmy Carter, C. Gerald Ford. Yeah, I gotta give Jimmy Carter C because he didn't work well with Congress. Even though he was a Democrat, Congress was Democratic. He didn't work well with them. But he was a very good guy. I gotta give him C. Like both of them, strong C plus. Reagan, B, just easy B. He he survived an assassination attempt, and then he had used comedy. He did do War on Drugs, which was not good, yes, but he did do a few good things. You see, tear down this wall. We won the Iran War, or not the Iran War. We won that Cold War mainly because of this guy. He he was a good president. But unfortunately, War on Drugs, very bad. He's president of Screen Actors Guild, which means he's kind of more indifferent, like just slightly negative, not fully negative about unions. But he's a very charismatic man, I'll say that. This man. And he won the last landslide election with 58% of the vote in 1984. He was good. George H.W. Bush, easy. Okay, Operation, what's it called? Sand Eagle? He was he was a good president. He did do NAFTA, fortunately. I do not like that, but he also appointed Clarence Thomas on he's the second African American elected to the Supreme Court. And yeah, he did lie about not raising taxes, but it was good for a good reason that helped our economy. And then Bill Clinton. Also, he won that the Middle Eastern War, whatever, the Gulf War. He won that, and he had 90% approval, which is something very hard thing to do. Clinton, C. He worked well with Congress. Well, he kind of worked well with Congress. He's kind of the beginning of the modern era of politics, where Congress hates the president, president hates the Congress, even if they're the same party. So, well, it's hate now, not just slightly dislike. It's now hate. He didn't really help the Rwandan genocide stuff. His wife, I don't gotta talk about her, this guy. I mean, I don't know. He literally should have been impeached and removed from office because he literally did commit perjury. He lied. He committed perjury. He did. He just did. But he worked well with Congress, but he's also supported NAFTA. But, I mean, he also lost 1994 in a landslide, which, I mean, just come on, Bill. Bush, D tier. I don't know. They lost 2006 by a landslide. 2006, I didn't say that right. Free trade agreements, which, yeah, he kind of mishandled Hurricane Katrina. Great Recession because of his policies. He just Patriot Act, but some of that stuff isn't Patriot Act. My God, we went to Iraq on false terms. My God. And if you ask me, he didn't win the election because literally the Supreme Court just voted by one vote to stop the recount, which there probably was going to be Gore victory. But I mean, just come on, Bush. Some of the stuff wasn't his fault. I will admit that, but and he's opposed to gay marriage was just come on, man. Barack Obama. Oh boy. This is the last president that could be viable for B. I just want to say that. There were a good number of good things. Tax relief, he got us out of the Great Recession. Took a little while. Took him 4 years to do so, but whatever. Also, I just want to add 2009, right after he took office, you see the emergence of this conservative populist movement in America. The Tea Party stuff. And then you got more and more populism rising to even Trump. I think his second term was probably better than his first, but it was met with a harsh Congress, which he just couldn't work well with. I don't know. He did support ban on assault weapons. I mean, I don't know. I just think a lot of what he did was more establishment orientated and not progress orientated, which was change, hope. That's what his slogan was. I think he just kind of lied up on a few of those. He did repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell, thankfully. It was good. Also, Clinton did that. Nancy got gay marriage legalized. But I mean, they just were terrible with Congress. The Congress was being stupid, but not him yet. Donald Trump. Oh, Jesus Christ. Lied about election results. He enables people to be stupid to one another, hate other people. He does actually bad tariffs that actually hurt America's farmers that voted for him. He put tariffs on beans. His best buds with Kim Jong-un, those were good. I will say that. He also repealed NAFTA, which was good. He did simplify the tax code, which was good. That's why he's not F. But he attempted to overturn the results. He sent a mob to the Capitol. He tried to kill his own vice president. This guy. My God. There were a few good things. That's why he's not F, but impeached 2 times, only president. My God. and Joe Biden. He took troops out of Afghanistan, that's good. And he also did the Violence Against Women Act, but there's a good number of good things I don't like. American Taxpayer Relief Act of 2012, thank you. And Obamacare, I don't agree with everything of it, but it's okay. This, oh my god. It's just... You may hear me getting more tired if I talk more, but when I get up to more modern presidents, like, are we that stupid to elect these people? I mean, it's like they're all just terrible. I just don't know. Anyways, that's it. If you think I should change anything, tell me and give me proof. I'd like to know. Thank you very much.